Hi, welcome back to the Nokia stand at Mobile World Congress. I'm Leslie Shannon, and I'm here with the wonderful Jane Rygaard.
Thanks, Leslie.
And today, well, now we're in our really cool-looking industrial area. And Jane, a couple of the watchwords around the industrial stuff that we're doing is productivity and efficiency gains. But it's more than just that. What can you tell us about that?
So you can basically say, so a lot of the industrial discussions right now is like, how do we as a society use technology in a way to be more efficient, to gain, get the productivity gains. So this is really the area where we talk about, in this case, we talk about productivity in the Industry 4.0. What happens when you have the technology both to be processing on the edge, when you have also with 5G wireless technology that actually gives us the capability of do things wireless. What flexibility do we get out of this? How can we do this productivity gain that we know we need? If we look at the physical industries, this is where we have the most to gain from a productivity level with what I like to call digitalization, because it's more than just zeros and ones in terms of data, but we need to have the processes on top, and with this we also need to understand what is the data we have and how do we get better use of the technology to give us that. So it's more than just looking at this machine doing this, it's about rethinking the processes. And so, yes. I mean, these are actually words that we've been hearing for a while. What does that actually mean? Where does the rubber hit the road? What does that actually mean in practice? So a good example is things like our production line that we have in the back. Which is our partnership with Bosch, yes, which yes. In fact, the fact that we have a lot of partnerships this year is something I'm really excited about. But I would say that when you go back to partnerships is needed, because if you look at what do we need the technology for, well then whoever's doing the technology is not the expert of running the processes or running the production or running harbors or running whatever we use it for. We always need to have the expertise of what that needs. It doesn't help that I come with the 5G technology and saying, you can now do everything, if I don't actually know what is the exact messages you're using, control planes for different robots or whatever. So it has to be partnerships, it has to be collaboration across everything, otherwise this technology is not going to create and give us the productivity that we need. Right. And I'm sorry because I cut you off because you're just about to talk about digitization, which is the really important thing. So. No, but it is really that when we get data and we want to do production lines, we want to have the flexibility of doing this. Then one of the things, if you build things up as a static part, and now you could say it becomes a little bit wireless or fixed, but if we get the data and we can process them on the fly, we can do changes, then whether I can change the production line, if it's all wired up, it might take 6 months. Actually. So you're talking about like on the factory floor, if the machines are actually wired in sequence, and you want to do something different, you have to recable everything for this. If they're wireless, I can easily adapt, I can easily change, and I might just need a power plug, which can be everywhere, but I can then change it. At the same time, when we have harbor examples over here, in a harbor, everything is moving, right? Funny enough, when I move goods, it's moving around, and if I want to do something intelligent, it doesn't help that I say I have wired solutions. I need to have solutions, technology-wise, that caters for the use cases of logistics in this case, or operations of the harbor, or whatever it is, and therefore being able to understand the processes that they have, and how do we have then the best technology that solves that. And what we see with 5G and a lot of the discussions is that when you then bring in technology like 5G with edge cloud computing, with radio interface where you can make things mobile and still have low latency and ultra reliability as part of it, well then you suddenly can get a productivity gain out of this. So we're trying to say, okay, not, of course there's nice technology, but all of it needs to be used for something that gives us an industrial benefit in the end, one way or the other. So it's really a radical rethink of a lot of industrial processes. Yes. Yeah, and which is, I guess, for the industries that we're talking about, it's best not to go it alone. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And again, one thing is you understand technology or you understand the processes, but in the end, you need to put it all together. And that's why coming back to the partnership, it's a very, very important part of it, of understanding how do we actually do this for the future. And another message that we're looking at on the consumer side is digital time, the idea of using digitization to actually win time back. There's an interesting application of that in the industry area as well. If you're winning time back, if I can produce more in less time, or I can produce more in the same time, I also won time, right? Whether it's getting more containers through a harbor, or it's getting more things through the production line, or how do you operate? Just the fact that we get more productive from a whatever use case we're looking at, we're also gaining time. So in that sense, it's the same as we talk about overall for digital time. How can we use technology to make sure we get most out of the time that is there? You can always say, are we able to create time? Well, from a physical point of view, we should probably leave that alone, right? Physics are still there. But at least being able to say the time we have, by using it right, we can be more productive, and that is also creating digital time.
And in enterprise, industry, time is money.
Yes, very much bottom line, all the way through.
Thank you so much, Jane.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for spending your time with us here today. Please follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and WeChat. We're everywhere. Nokia Mobile World Congress 2019.